Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square with T-Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. Got a great video planned out for you guys today. Today, I want to take a little time and talk about gold and silver, but also I want to talk a little bit about cryptos. And I kind of want to dig in a little bit to cryptos today, specifically what's going on with PayPal right now. A lot of people talking about this. It's kind of just came up, so people are talking about it only because they're really making some big changes and they're allowed to do that now. But we'll see what happens in the long run. We're going to talk about that in today's video. If you enjoyed today's video, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button for me. And real quick, before we even get started, a special congratulations to our winners last night for our memberships. If you are a member, you can go back and watch the live streams. A spoiler alert, I'm about ready to read the names of the winners. So if you don't want to know if you're the winner, you want to watch it, then, hey, pause the video or jump ahead. Congratulations to Hillbilly Stock Picks. You were the #1 winner. You get your choice of whichever pile you want. John W., you were the #2 winner. You get whatever's left over amongst the two that are left over from the one getting picked. And Scott McNeil, congratulations. You will get one of these prizes, and they will pick in that order. So with that being said, congratulations. If you don't understand what the memberships are, it is just $1.99 to join and become a member. We don't really have a lot of members, and so the odds were really good last night for those that are members. Congratulations to the winners, and to the people that did not win this time, hey, there's always next time, and I still thank you for being a member. With that being said, we're going to jump right into today's video. Like I said, if you did not... excuse me. I just ate something. I got stuck in my throat, I think. If you did not hit that thumbs up, please hit that thumbs up. And with that being said, let's get started. Before we get started real quick, I want to take a quick minute, take a look at what is going on with the silver price in overnight trading. Down about 33 cents or 1%. I'm not in the least bit worried about that. In fact, I'd like to see a better opportunity, a better buying opportunity. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping to get a good order put in again at the end of the week. But who knows? If I see some drastic drop, I may put it in sooner, even though I don't like to do that. When I got one order pending from one company, I don't really like to order a second order from the same company. I usually rotate it, but right now I got one company that I've been buying from, and they've been giving me phenomenal deals, so I've been super happy with them. For those of you that don't know, that is Twin City Gold in Biddeford, Maine. I know someone will ask, how come you didn't say what company? That is the company. They're a small mom and pop coin shop slash jewelry slash some antiques, I think, and some different stuff. If you're in Biddeford, Maine, go and check them out. If you're not, then you can look them up online and check out their web store and check out all the cool stuff they have. Give them a call, place your order if you like them. I do, but with that being said, taking a quick look at the gold price, since I kind of got off track there a little bit, I anticipate what people will ask me ahead of time. I don't get nothing by shouting them out, but I still like to do it. Taking a quick look at gold price. Gold price just below $3,300, trading at $32.92, down about 26 bucks or a little under 1%. And silver falling a little bit harder than gold today, but that's okay after we've seen that big drop. Not too long ago, last week I think it was, we had one day where gold dropped by 3% and silver was up by 2%, which was pretty insane in my opinion. Taking a quick look at Bitcoin, since we are going to be talking a little bit about crypto today, not specifically Bitcoin, but a new stable coin that is being launched by PayPal. And I think that could do really well, but here's the thing. Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. We got Bitcoin trading at $93,228 as of right this minute. It is 1:30 in the morning, and I apologize if this ain't a great video for some of you guys. I'm going to just be blunt and say it. We just finished a 3-hour live stream, and I'm filming this now. I want to put something out there every day because that's kind of the route that I'm going right now. I'm trying to stick to a schedule and post regularly. We got the DXY Index, or the US dollar, trading at 99.57, up a hair. Not really enough to really matter. I mean, is it up a little tiny bit? Yes, about 0.10 up. We'll see how long it lasts in the upward direction. We do have the Fed meeting coming in literally less than 2 weeks, so I will expect that we will probably see the DXY strengthen leading up to that. And a strengthening in the DXY usually means a softening in the gold and silver price, and hopefully we will see it go down a little bit. I did not expect a good jump to come up until after the Fed meeting, specifically after they probably cut interest rates, which is what I think they will do. So let's see, close that. Okay, so what is going on with PayPal? So PayPal is launching essentially, what is the gains that they're saying? They're launching a new stable coin. Excuse me. Pyusd. And so it made me want to, when I read up on this, it made me want to look into what the stable coin exactly is. And for the people that don't know what a stable coin is, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I was curious if they were using an existing stable coin or if they were launching their own stable coin. And their new stable coin that they are launching is Pyusd. It will be paying, it looks like, money that you hold in the account, to my understanding, is going to pay you a 3.7% annual yield, to try to promote people to invest in PayPal stablecoin. There's a lot of other big stablecoins out there. USD obviously is one of the most popular stablecoins, and that's probably why they ended up calling it PYUSD, because they are balancing or pegging their stablecoin to the US dollar, $1 essentially per coin. And a lot of people have this belief about stablecoins, that stablecoins are guaranteed to, not lose value. Oh, Tether, that's another big one. That's a stable coin. A lot of people like Tether too. Tether and USD, I think, are the two biggest right now. But a lot of people don't realize that a stable coin can go down in value, despite their name being stable coin, while they are designed to maintain a stable value, typically pegged to fiat currency, whatever the currency is in your country, most likely. Like the US dollar, various factors can cause their price to fluctuate or even fall below their target value. Obviously, market confidence is a big one. Obviously, reserve issues, loss in trust when people start worrying about it. They do rely on the algorithm to maintain that value. They're supposed to be basically buying, to my knowledge, putting up $1 for every stable coin or one coin that is out there. So if there are 1 million Tether coins, then there is $1 million in a pot somewhere. However, what is going to happen with this, I really worry, because we have seen stable coins really lose value. And not to mention, the next thing I'm going to talk about is collapse. Multiple stable coins have collapsed, lost their peg to the US dollar, despite the design to maintain a stable value. Notary examples is Terra USD, or UST, which lost its peg in May 22, leading up to the collapse of Terra's entire ecosystem. So if you were investing in it, you pretty much got wiped out. Other examples include temporary depegging of USDC after the Silicon Valley Bank, collapsed, and failure of biased stablecoin projects. So first of all, now what I want people to understand in this, look at what really collapsed this stablecoin. Silicon Valley Bank. I mean, how many banks are in trouble right now? I pulled up I always like to ask Google, because I always think Google is a little biased. Google doesn't really want to tell us the truth. They're a little more laid back. They try to conservative stuff, I guess you can say. And when I asked this question, are banks in trouble from capital loss? It came up, yes. I actually thought it would be like, not really, hype or tinfoil hat stuff. It came out and just said, yes, interest rates have caused significant unrealized capital losses in the bank securities profiles. I want you to think about what happened during the 2008 housing crisis. So some people may understand what happened. We had the homes that were essentially backed for a certain amount. You had the home loans that were backed to the value of the home. If the value of the home is to collapse, well, you still owe whatever they loaned you. So if I loan you, we'll say $200,000 for a home, and the home is worth $2,000 at the time, or maybe even $220,000. Maybe you put up 10% collateral, and then all of a sudden something happens in the economy, and the home value plunges. Let's say it goes down to $150,000. Okay, you're down 20% of your capital right off the bat. Your equity is only worth $150,000. You owe $200,000. That's a 25% loss. Now that's not horrible, maybe, but when it gets worse and worse, where now the house is only worth $100,000, well, in some cases there are going to be people that are going to walk away from their homes. And that's exactly what happened in 2008. People started walking away from their homes. And banks realized what was going on. People did not want to buy the loans because these loans are usually packaged up. They're reclassified as a packaged asset and sold off to essentially hedge funds, retirement companies that, they're trying to look for ways to invest your retirement. And essentially when the securities plunge in value, well, now nobody wants them. Why would I want to buy a loan from someone that took a $200,000 loan when the asset is only worth $100,000? I mean, right off the bat, I have no collateral, and there's nothing stopping that person from walking away. Oh, I'll get their home. Okay, a home that's only worth $100,000. So essentially, when security values go down or are worth less than what you can get them for now, people don't want them. I would be better off just taking my $200,000 and going buying two houses for $100,000 each. A lot of people don't understand what's going on with the bank system right now. With interest rates as high as they are, some people will say they're not really that high. But as interest rates have gone up, a lot of these big banks have invested their money in essentially, when we were at 0% interest, well, 0% was 0%. But when interest rates climbed to 1%, 2%, now 2% is better than no percent. So they buy into these bonds, these treasury bonds, and essentially interest rates go up to 3%. Well, now you have a choice. Do you want to hold your 2% or do you want to sell it and essentially get some money back and buy a 3% bond? Well, 3% is better than 2%, so obviously you want the higher one. But nobody wants to buy your 2%. They don't want to buy a 2% bond, not when they can go and buy a new bond and get 3%. Well, as time went on, maybe 4%, and as time goes on, it just continues to inch higher. Well, nobody wants those old ones. And essentially, if the bank needs money because people start drawing money, people want loans, people want this, people want to take out money, now the banks are hurting for cash. They're stuck with assets that they can't sell because they're worth less. I won't say worthless yet, but they are worth less than essentially a new one. Now, if they decide to start cutting rates, as I think they will in the upcoming Fed meeting, then obviously those bonds become still valuable. Obviously, the higher interest rates ones that people picked up are going to be more valuable, but the lower ones aren't as bad of an investment now if we cut interest rates. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, the more the bank has losses, the more risk everything is. Your money's at risk because the bank is at risk. And a lot of people think, oh, your money's just sitting in a bank account. Your money ain't sitting in a bank account. Your money has already been loaned out, sent off to Wall Street, done whatever with. And essentially, if stocks fall at the same time as banks needing money, at the same time as investments being down, that's very bad for banks. And therefore, it makes it really bad for stable coins like USDT, Tether, and this new one that PayPal is launching, which to some people sounds great. Wow, PayPal, look at their huge... I'm not going to lie, I use PayPal on a regular basis now. I love PayPal. I have it linked to a credit card. Boom. I buy something with PayPal. It's accepted almost everywhere, everything. And then boom, they hit my credit card. And then boom, my credit card bill hits me and I just pay it with my bank account. It sounds great in the grand scheme of things, but the more people start getting into risky assets. Now, I'm surprised PayPal would want to do this, but on the flip side, PayPal is going to generate a lot of money out of this too. And it's going to basically utilize their growth in, I'll say, the digital sector. Everybody kind of, in my opinion, PayPal already is huge in the digital sector, but it will grow them. And that's basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to make up their own stable coin. And, cryptos have done really well for people to a certain point. I've never knocked cryptos as a whole. I have knocked Bitcoin because I think Bitcoin is overvalued. It's just another coin. There's nothing major, in my opinion, about Bitcoin that separates them from someone else. Really, the only thing they have is the huge bankroll and the popularity of it. It was the first of its kind. People want the first of its kind. It had more time to grow. It had more time to hit mainstream and get a big name. There are a lot of other cryptos out there that we know the name of, whether it's Dogecoin, whether it's Ether, whether it's XRP. There's a lot of cryptos out there. Now, I've always said, I think when you're the top dog, you have the furthest to fall. When you're all the way at the top of the pile. And that's where Bitcoin is. And, Bitcoin has been struggling to stay up where it is. And that's why I wanted to make sure. That's why I've kind of implemented in most of the weekly shows to show what it's trading at. Bitcoin trades on a daily basis. And once you realize that, look how quick it changes. Now we're up to 94,428, up another 650 or 0.69%. It's really been struggling, though, to stay over 100. Look at what we were down to a week and a half ago. We were down to 77,000. Anything that has that kind of volatility really makes me worry. Does gold and silver have volatility? Yes, it does. But at the end of the day, I understand that gold and silver is tangible. It's a hard asset. If anything, I can melt down an ounce of gold, make a ring out of it, and sell it to someone that needs a ring for their marriage that's coming up. Or I could melt down some silver and make a necklace out of it that someone might want to give to their girlfriend, significant other, partner, whatever you want to call it. And once you realize that gold and silver are tangible, they're used in a lot of industrial. If industrial demand picks up, and let's be honest, industrial demand right now is down. If industrial demand picks up again, which I believe it will at some point, could the economy stay down? Yes, but if the economy stays down, everything is in trouble. And gold and silver then really look really good, because if gold and silver come down, that's a buying opportunity. And, when you look at it in history, let's be honest, this is the silver chart right here. The majority of it has been going up in price. And we're not seeing a straight up like we saw right here, which tells me that it's kind of stable. If I saw some straight line, one bar going straight up, that would worry me. That would worry me for a bunch of reasons. One, it would worry me that it went up too high too fast. But two, it would worry me because obviously something really bad is going on if we're seeing that kind of spike. And a lot of people may slow down on buying when these spikes come up. But there's always going to be new people in the market. There's always going to be people that are just finding out about it. I can tell you when this spike took place in 1980, more people looked at silver. There were people buying up here at $50. And some people would say no one would ever buy silver at $50 if it gets there, because then they know it's just going to repeat what happened last time. That's not a guarantee. Look how high this went and how fast it went up. In 1980, at a time when there wasn't as much money in the system as there is today. Fast forward, look at how it went up to $50 in 2011 after the housing crisis. It didn't come all the way back down, straight down like it did here. It came around and it bounced around in right about this level, the same level we're at today. Name me anything that hasn't gone up in price since 2011. You know, it's hard to find items. I know when I said silver, someone else said another metal. There's always going to be something out there, but there's very few things. Once you realize that, you understand we haven't seen the jump. This right here that we're seeing right here, this little noise up and down, up and down, up and down, this is a struggle. This is a struggle to keep prices contained. They don't want it exploding in price. And a lot of that comes down to when gold and silver go up in price, that is not a good sign. It's a bad sign for the US dollar. It's a bad sign for whatever currency you're looking at this jump in. Now, here's the thing. I know some people might say, well, that kind of looks like a straight line right there. It is, but it's been going up over the course of the last 15 months. So if I target it right here, that's about 15 months that we've been going up. Could we see a pullback? You know, I talk about this a lot. It's a common question. Could we see a pullback in the price of precious metals? Yes, anything's possible. We could see a pullback. But in a world with as much chaos, as much geopolitical uncertainty, as much corruption, as much risk in everything, what do you think will happen if the price did pull back in gold? And I'm specifically saying gold right now, but we'll get back to the silver here in a second. I would be convinced that a lot of countries would start buying gold because they understand it's a safe haven asset. They understand, yes, there is a certain amount of risk, but at the end of the day, there's more risk in other stuff, and it's a less riskier asset. Once you realize that, the next thing you have to look at, well, that's gold. That doesn't necessarily mean silver. Silver's been manipulated for a while now, and there's nothing saying the manipulation will ever stop. And yes, you're right. There is nothing saying that the manipulation has to stop, except for supply and demand. As the manipulation is there, the manipulation that they manipulate this system is done in paper. That means they're putting more paper silver on the market. They're selling something that they essentially don't have. They're just saying they will have it in, say, 30 days, 60 days, whatever the contract is. They're saying they will have it when the time comes. However, will they have it when the time comes? If all of a sudden the banks collapsed, hypothetically, will the bank have your money when the time comes? You might plant a bunch of oranges or apples in a vineyard, or grapes in a vineyard, or an orchard. I said apples for a vineyard. Grapes in a vineyard, apples in an orchard, whatever the case may be. You're expecting you're going to have a good crop. There's nothing guaranteeing that. There's no guarantees. They could have a drought. They could have a freeze. They could have a fluke storm that washes it all away. And then you've got nothing. And then, oh, we thought we'd have the money when the orchard came up, but it didn't. And now, we ain't got your money. You can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. It's an old saying that I always used to hear from my mom. Doesn't matter how broke you are. If you ain't got the money to pay, you ain't got the money to pay. Doesn't matter what you owe. You take the average American right now. Average American does not have the money to pay their bills, but yet they keep buying like there's no tomorrow. And I have actually heard people tell me that. I'm not worried about the money I owe. I just say the heck with it. Eventually I'll get it. If I ain't got it, you ain't got it. That doesn't really fix a problem. It doesn't even fix the situation the person's in. And now that I've heard this from a few people, that kind of worries me a little bit. That people are taking this much of a nonchalant attitude towards loans. it doesn't instill confidence in wanting to loan anybody money today. So once you realize that, that people are taking this attitude more and more, and the banks, a lot of banks are willing to loan it. Why are they willing to loan it? Because they're getting 24.9% interest. That's a pretty big interest rate. Some cases, 29% interest rate. And there might even be higher out there that I just personally have never heard of. However, once you realize that, there's incentive to risk lend. And let's be honest, if the banks collapse, who do you think is going to be left footing the bill? I mean, if the banks collapse, the shareholders might be left. Most likely it will be the shareholders. Some people might say Uncle Sam. Maybe Uncle Sam will bail out the too big to fail banks. However, I don't think that they will bail them out this time. I think it will go to the shareholders. The shareholders will be the last man standing. Anything you have invested in the bank, I'm sorry, you can no longer withdraw it. You now have share in the bank, stocks in the bank. Once you give your money to somebody, it's gone. Yeah, you have an IOU. What is an IOU? An IOU is a check. If I write you a check for $1 million, I clearly don't have $1 million. If I had $1 million, I probably wouldn't be making YouTube videos. I think I'd be living on a beach, but who knows, because I really do enjoy making the videos for y'all, and I hope you enjoy watching them. But at the end of the day, if I don't have the money, you just have an IOU, a piece of paper. It's worthless. If the banks don't have the money, you can kiss your money goodbye. You have an IOU. And anybody that thinks that a bank can't keep your money, the Dodd-Frank Act. Right there, the government said, banks fail again, shareholders are going to bail them out. We're not bailing them out. This is to protect the consumer. How is it protecting the consumer? How is that protecting the consumer? I would rather see the bank bail them out than me personally bail them out. I don't want to give up my money. I'd rather Uncle Sam give us up his money, and then at least I know it's being divided up equally amongst everybody. But people don't understand that. They don't understand what's going on. They don't even have the time to think because they're too tired from working multiple jobs, making ends meet because they're so far in debt, there's no end to it. With that being said, we got to be close to 30 minutes. 27 minutes. I'm getting good at timing. With that being said, I think we're going to wrap up here. I think gold and silver is a great investment. I really do. This is not financial advice. It shouldn't be considered as such. I could be totally wrong. Maybe your bank is the safest bank out there, and gold and silver is just waiting to collapse back to $800 gold and $5 silver from 2000. Could it happen? I mean, anything's possible. The sky could fall tomorrow. The world stops spinning. Anything can happen. It's just unlikely. And it's unlikely that you're going to see some major pullback. I had someone tell me yesterday, hey, you might see gold fall. If you see gold fall to 3,200, don't panic. You think I'm going to panic? I ain't going to panic. Reason being, I buy it because I'm not worried about it. It makes me sleep at night knowing that it's a safe haven asset. Price doesn't matter. If nothing bad happens to the world, then the world just keeps going as it is. And you keep generating your money however you generate it, whether it's Social Security, whether it's a retirement, whether it's your bank interest, whether it's, your trust fund, whatever, your job, it doesn't matter. If banks collapse, that's when there's a problem. If society gets just the dollar collapses, that's when there's a problem. And then if you've taken the time to insure yourself with a strong asset like gold and silver, you're going to be okay probably, most likely. I always say, make sure you take a little time, stack up some food, maybe put away a pew-pew, a little bit of freedom seeds with your pew-pew, maybe even some real seeds. That way you can plant a garden if you need to. But always remember, it takes a couple months to get a garden up and running. Even if you're skilled at it, I'm good at planting gardens. I like gardens. I could put the time in right now and get one going and have production in 60 days, give or take. However, Well, actually, now they got the new microgreens. You could actually have food in like 2 weeks, I think. I thought about wanting to get into that. I wish somebody would watch one of my videos and maybe sponsor me for a microgreen. I would love to turn my garage into microgreens. Even if I got a discount, I would be happy at that. With that being said, I'm going to wrap up the video here. Consider taking a little time to look into gold and silver if you haven't already. And if you have, then you're already on the right track and you're way ahead of the average person, because eventually when this system does drop out, hopefully you are prepared for what's coming. If you enjoyed today's video, please take a quick minute. Hit that thumbs up button. Be sure and leave me a comment. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and check out all these great videos. We do put up videos every day, plus live streams once a month minimum, sometimes multiple times. They're usually members events where we give away really cool prizes, and it's a lot of fun. So with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody, and have a great week. It is Monday, so pumped up Monday. 5 more days in front of us, and then another weekend. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.